You are listening to Urban Alchemy 360 Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
You are listening to Urban Alchemy 360 Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies
and gentlemen.
You're now tuned in to UA360 Radio, urbanalchemy360.com.
You are listening to Urban Alchemy 360
Radio. Just be yourself, you told me. Just do the things you do.
In a different way. I know we all talk about wealth builders and wealth advisement and all that shit, but
it's our perspective.
You know,
right.
They're all saying the same thing, but you know, let's kind of break through the muck a little bit,
right?
And oh, by the way, we've already started the show. How you doing? My name is Mailon Rivera. You're listening to the Barefoot Alchemist on UA360 Radio. Thanks to Anchor.fm. And if you'd like to send us a message, play along in the sandbox with us, we'd love to have you. You can actually find us at anchor.fm/UA360 Radio. You could also send us a message there. We'll add that message right on the air. We'll be right back.
What if we were entering into a new time? A time when the very systems of control and commerce that we had believed to be the status quo were somehow no longer relevant.
You are listening
what
to
if we
Urban
were faced with a
Alchemy
new medium,
360
a new network, a new system that connected the people and places of the world in a new way?
Urban Alchemy 360.
What if that system is here?
The pain won't stop me, the rain won't stop me. I know God can stop me, but he ain't gon' stop me, cause he the one who bought me. I don't see why my back bend for shit that was not me. The drugs almost got me. My best friend was Oxy. She got the worst out of me. My mama couldn't stop it, cause she ain't know about me. My close friends was all fiends. For money that's false, what I learned from that cost me. I damn near lost me. I damn near lost me. Oh, I damn near lost me. You ever had a nigga try to make your car a coffin? You ever got pulled over and your niggas had it all with them? Nah, I don't think he did that, look. I ain't no gangster nigga or a street nigga will do that often. But the way my life set up, I knew all them. But the way my life set up, the pain won't stop me, the rain won't stop me. I know God can stop me, but he ain't gon' stop me, cause he the one who brought me. I don't see why my back bend for shit that was not me. The pain won't stop me, the rain won't stop me. I know God can stop me, but he ain't gon' stop me, cause he the one who brought me. I don't see why my back bend for shit that was not me, when he got a planned out schema.
Glad you're tuning in. This is Mailon Rivera. You're listening to the Barefoot Alchemist on UA360 Radio. I want to first say thank you if you've tuned in before. Thank you for coming back. Our first guest today is he's a good brother. I really genuinely love this man because he's been consistent for over 20 plus years, 25 I think, 20 plus years that I've known him. He'll probably correct me. But he is the founder of the Matrix Group. He is a wealth coach. He's an amazing business advisor. And today, also he wears a mean scarf. But today, this self-made millionaire is going to work with us, talk to us, and kind of get us back in focus to what is important in life and wealth and future happiness, and how we can kind of amplify future generations. So, ladies and gentlemen, if I can get my screen together. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Mr. Byron Nelson. There was a whole lot of intro.
Hey,
mostly because I couldn't find the button.
You make it look easy. That's what professionals and experts and marquee individuals do, bro. That's what we do, fam.
Well, I appreciate it. I wanted to talk to you. I have the advantage of knowing you. Mm-hmm. But for the purposes of this conversation, I want to pretend like we don't know each other. Mm-hmm. One of the first questions that I would ask, as a wealth coach and a business advisor, what separates you? What's so different about you that separates you from all these other so-called self-help gurus and wealth advisors?
Well, it's amazing because when you say wealth advisor, a lot of people immediately want to think of a financial advisor. And though I do financial advice, I don't. That's not my masterpiece. My masterpiece is sculpting a life, and truly, for lack of other words, I would be called a spiritual chiropractor. Because everything starts with the spirit, you align that, and then in turn, you either become a person that deflects or attracts from that moment forward. They say the easiest way to hide something from somebody is put it in plain sight. People can't find love because it's in plain sight. They can't find money. They can't find credit. All these things, everything that they're looking for is already at their fingertips. They just don't know how to access it. So when you look at it from that perspective and understand they're chasing the wrong thing most of the time, it's funny. I had a very interesting dynamic of a conversation yesterday about understanding the difference of what women want, what men want, as far as in relationships, and the maternal instinct of a woman is to want love. That would be the first thing that would come to mind. But really what a woman wants more than anything else is safety. She wants security. She wants to feel safe. She wants to feel secure within a relationship, and then of course you've heard all the different cliches when it comes to a man. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach, through his mouth, or, men are chasing, money bags, if a man has security and has money, which, all these different things. So I asked several people, I was like, what does this conversation started with two of my closest friends. I'd asked them, I said, they had been married 20 plus years. And I said, what is it that you want more than anything else? He said, I want to give her, meaning his wife, everything she wants. I want to make her euphoric, if you will. And I was like, and because I know them, right? And you can see, I was like, is that really what you want to do? He said, yeah. He said, she's provided for me. She's been a rock. She's been there when I didn't have anything. She's built me up. She's allowed me to live the life that I'm living. Even now she's running a business while I'm freelancing, doing other businesses. And I said, whoa. I said, okay. So my question was what is it, that she wants? And I knew that he couldn't answer that question. Because what you want to provide, what a man and woman want when you first get married versus when you're newlyweds versus after you build a family or a business versus 20 years later, her desire list is completely different. And most people don't evolve at that level to stay engaged in the relationship long enough to know presently what somebody wants, which is where, the compression hits, which was very, very interesting.
So what defines you that separates you from this so-called
distinctly
wealth guru or business advisor? Or, the oceans are practically bloodied with,
right?
Self-help
people, gurus.
Especially after The Secret came out and other people are watching, the laws of transformation and things like that. And
I believe,
of course, getting disappointed at times with the result.
Right. Because I don't do it for money. So, and people don't make the distinction that rich is what you have, wealth is what you're able to give away. And it's even biblical for me. That's why Jesus was the word before he became Jesus. Understanding how to realign a person's life with their purpose. And most people, 95% of people, are not living on purpose. You know, they're working to live versus living, you know, to work on something that's going to be majestic and be a legacy after they're gone. The irony of even your show, of something which I make reference to quite frequently, and that is the alchemist is creating something out of nothing. And I guess I've really never defined it because I've created such a credit. I tell people like us, right? Just the two of us. Every relationship has a credit limit. It's just like a credit card. And we were just talking about this in the beginning of the show. 90% of the people I knew 25, 30 years ago, they still have a $500 credit card with me. They didn't grow their credit because they didn't grow themselves. So I'm that doctor that I'm only going to help you if you seek help and if you choose to evolve, if you choose to grow, if you want to be healed. But most people are in denial. So the difference, I'm sorry, let me answer. I'm really fighting with this question because I think more than anything else, I've never had to, because I have such a waiting list of people who want my support and help, right, that I've never had to define it where I had to go and market it. So in that, what I look at is the distinction is where I serve at a frequency very few people will ever serve at, because it's on purpose that's what I do. It's almost like Whitney Houston living. Transformation of a human's life is like Whitney singing. When you stop singing, you die. Or like when Tyson stops fighting. It's what gives me life, is to watch a person go from literally nothing to becoming something they could never, ever imagine, you know, which goes into my MO, which is everybody has a myth, a legend, and a self. Most people never get to the myth. It eliminates 98% of the people on the planet. Now, my legend, when I first started out, you know, was pretty much, it was the Wizard of Oz. And this is going something to be able to be transparent as to who I was. The first half of my life, or the first 50 years, or the first half century of my life, I spent, and I say spent, back to those words, right? Versus invest. I spent most of my life working on becoming one of the most charismatic individuals that live and walk this planet. And I can honestly say I have. But then in my conversation with God, you know, he's like, okay, so now that you've achieved that, what have you achieved? Because when you go back to the word and understand charismatic, it really goes into charisma, goes into creating a space that draws a crowd. But when you leave, so do they. So you're just a spectacle. Versus where I am in the second half of this journey of building what is called character, that when you actually leave, you have lived a life, worked in another person's life, inspired them to be all that they could be, better and bigger than you could have ever been in their own purpose and their own being. And that's massive.
That's a hell of a mission.
Right?
So what started this for you? When did you know that this would be a path for you in a real way?
So I think, as again, and then back to words, right? I know that everyone has that legend when they're a child. Some people want to be, they want to be Superman. Some people want to be Batman. Mm-hmm. You know, we have these heroes, right? Some it's their father, you know, sometimes it's not their father. Mine, when I was young, it started off with being the Wizard of Oz. And I actually became that. I wanted to be the man behind the curtain that when you needed heart, I can motivate you to get that.
I mean, what age?
That's what I'm saying. That was at from the time I can remember as a child. That was my first exposure of one of my earliest memories of even being 4 or 5 years old was the Wizard of Oz. Mm. I wanted to be the wizard. And then that was the legend. But as I evolved, when you dig into the subconscious, right? When you go into the core of who I really wanted to become was the myth. And I was like, how do I become the myth? Now the myth is what Oprah has become. The myth is what Michael Jordan has become. The myth is what I aspire to be now. And you know who that myth is? It's you in the mirror, and the person that you saw as your hero, and that hero was Peter Pan. I never want to leave Never Never Land. And I never want Mailon to leave Never Never Land. I don't want nobody. We going back. Oh, you done lost your marbles. You done grown up. I want you to be responsible, but I never want to leave that child that just totally enjoys every essence, experience of life. They can taste, hear, smell everything, that they don't get caught up, as so many do, in what we call being an adult and being responsible and getting old. I'll never get old.
Wow.
Now, if I can, I'll share with you where Peter Pan came from. I was in, and it came after The Wizard of Oz. It came in, there's a much deeper, I want to give you the short version. It came in, I want to say kindergarten. I was a Black kid living in Compton, going to an all-white school. And my parents couldn't afford, I don't tell this that often. It actually brings me to tears because of me taking care of my mom now. And my mom, they couldn't afford costumes for Halloween. And so what my mom did, she took me to Save-Ons, for people that can remember back that far, the old CVS. She took me to Save-Ons. She bought some stockings, some green stockings. She took me to the backyard, which looked mammoth at that time, which was an avocado tree. She took off the leaves. She sold me up an entire Peter Pan outfit, and I won first place in a white school where I was clowned as the N-word the whole time. And that gave me a whole nother vision where I watched everything from Robin Williams. I probably watched 10, 20 times every Peter Pan movie that has ever been out from the time I was a child to right now as I talk to you. And the only one that comes close to it that brings me to that space is Aladdin. And the movie on the circus that was just came out with the most amazing soundtrack, where he had a dream.
Oh, The Greatest Show.
The Greatest Show. I could tell you, I watched that 30 times. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I will go and watch that show and remember who the hell I am, and go back, and it's like,
this is the moment you
man,
for.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, man.
Yes. I just have to fight. Like, I have to fight the difference between the myth and the truth.
Right.
As a Libra, I'm constantly excavating. I'm constantly learning. Okay, I want the story behind the story behind the story.
Right.
And then you find out this person actually might be a shitty person. Like P.T. Barnum, like, this is a shitty guy.
That's
so it took me it took me a minute to even watch The Greatest Showman when it first came out, because I don't like to romanticize people who are shitty people.
Right.
But damn, that Hugh Jackman is so charming. Man. Maybe I will play that a little bit during our break.
Yeah.
If I can
who we become, right? That's who, to inspire, not motivate, but to get into another person's spirit for them to understand how great they really are is what makes me different. Wherever you want to be in 5 years, my job is to get you there in 2 years by making you recognize the greatness and how rare a jewel you are, that there will never be another one of you ever made on this planet. Why are you in competition with all the rat race? When we start to go to third world countries and we see, as I lived in Colombia, and the top doctor and the top money earner in Colombia is making $11,000 a year. And we come here and we grossly live in an entitled state. We don't even need to go down that lane, because both of you and I know, grossly live in this entitled state on every level. On every level, which does not allow us to find ourselves, to become the greatest version of ourselves that we were born to be.
I like that. And with that, I want to take a first break. I want to come back and get to part 2, because now that we've identified some of the things that make you different, let's talk about some of the things that we can do right now as action items to make a real impact
100%
for our families and future generations.
Definitely.
We'll be right back.
Definitely.
You're watching and listening, or it depends on your choice. You're watching or listening to the Barefoot Alchemist on UA360 Radio. I'm Mailon Rivera, and we're having some fantastic conversation. We'll be right back.
Hey, yo, what up? It's your boy Michael K. Williams, and right now you're chilling with Urban Alchemy 360. Stay up.
Count on you to lead the next 400 years.
The Make a Film Foundation grants film wishes to children battling serious diseases. So far, more than 100 documentaries and 4 short films completed.
In every generation, there are those whose hearts have been ablaze with the possibilities of what it means that all people are created equal and all people should have a chance to spread their wings and become everything that they can be, to actualize their God-given potential.
Open up your eyes, it's time to see. What is it you're waiting for? It's time to open up your eyes and see. You are what you're waiting for. Just open up your eyes, it's time to see.
Okay. Well, we are back. So I'm assuming you can still hear me.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I am here.
All right.
With Yoda.
Oh, you got your Yoda? Wait, that's Grogu. That's not Yoda.
It's Yoda.
That's Grogu. No, that's Grogu. That's Baby Yoda. That's Grogu. Hold on. Let me. Yeah. That's a Yoda.
That is a Yoda.
Now that's a Yoda.
That is a Yoda. You're going to have to make me go back and get a real Yoda.
and I got my Darth. Because the truth is, sometimes I feel like Yoda, and sometimes I feel like Darth Vader.
Right.
Like I will force choke a bitch. Welcome back. This is Mailon Rivera. We're glad you joined us. We have on the Barefoot Alchemist another Barefoot Alchemist that we keep it very simple and explaining complex thought. So Byron Nelson is here with us. He, over the last couple of decades, he's actually has made. He's. How many would you say you've made? Say how many millionaires have you made on your team?
In and outside of business, I'm hesitant to say we make somebody. Because for Mailon, but I'll say I've had a hand in
part
over 100
of
people.
the making. Yeah, making is a bad word.
I've had a hand in over 100 people generating over 7 figures.
100
people making over 7 figures.
That's okay. That's damn good.
It's amazing because.
So what were the steps?
Actually, one of the guys that I'm working with now. And I was hesitant to get in touch with them because when you put your name out there and you've spent years developing the credibility of who you are, it's almost like you're just curious, but they're like smelling blood, like, hey, maybe I can attach myself to this person. You know what I'm saying? So you're like really hesitant. So you still got to find acute ways of going about getting information. But a guy who I really have a lot of respect for, that I love dearly, that I trained 25 years ago, about 23 to 25. It circled back over the last 2 years. And this kid that he has, just like you see my matrix back there, original, and people have tagged me as Morpheus throughout the years. He actually has on his wall a picture of Morpheus and greeted me when I finally reached out to him with a Matrix t-shirt on. And I don't know if it was subconscious or how he took it to be able to create the same MO that I've done for over 20 plus, 3 decades. And this kid is generating currently that he, calls me one of his key mentors that actually steered him based on some of the trainings I did. He's generating in excess of he's over $40 million a year in under 2.5 years of his quest.
So doing what? What does
trading, dealing with a hedge fund. He's working with a hedge fund and trading. A lot of my kids, I have another kid that's 27, 28. I hate to call them kids, another young man that is a beast, 27, 28, that I met 7 years ago that I helped develop, and he's doing over $4 or $5 million a year, 27 years old. So again, I don't make these people. Like, nobody made me, but we had tutors, mentors, and teachers along the way that opened up doors, some that were more significant than others. You know, right now, me and Les Brown, we still have a very close relationship. He calls me a surrogate son. But at the same time, it's like he only texted me one line, and that was when I was sitting at his foot in his pajamas in his living room. And he's like, because I haven't completed this one book that we've talked about. And the title of the book, which was linked to my father, is called Be a Finisher. So all he texts me, like, we just had dialogue for the first time in a year and a half, maybe a year and a half, where we went back and forth 2 weeks ago or a week ago. And I was like, every time you text me, I text you, but you haven't responded. I'm like, I'm trying to have dialogue with him. I felt like I was ghosted, right? And we finally had dialogue. He said, and all he texts me is, be a finisher. And in that is the subliminal message that you haven't completed the book. And the title of the book is Be a Finisher. We'll have a conversation. I'm doing it forward. I have all the links and everything you need to blow it up into 3D. Right. Finish what you start. And so Les Brown didn't make me, but our journey for the past 5, 6, 7 years, he has definitely opened up and carved out doors and hallways for me to walk through that would have never existed. Same thing in meeting with, Sir Richard Branson, just going to his island, staying there and being able to meet through law of attraction, the associates and the colleagues and the friends and the lifelong family that was developed there. I'm still global in those contacts because he opened up a portal for me to be there with him, for a period of time that opened up a door to Elon Musk, and opened up a door to this person, and it just keeps going. So it's a very interesting journey because at the end of the day, you have to face yourself in the mirror to truly become what you want to become. And
you mentioned, by the way, you fucking name dropper.
Well, they don't make, but I'm Byron Nelson. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. They all, you're Mailon. All these people, all these things. Think about how many people, Mailon, without the names. If you and I drop names just in the journey of our friendship, in the first 10 years, if we go back to 1993, 94, if we go back of the people that were nobody that were hanging out, and they still are in communication with us. They have names, but God has our journey for our life because the impact, it shows that it's an even playing field for anyone to become extraordinary in the version of who they are.
You mentioned in a lot of your talks about relationship currency. And when I say define, I mean for even the people who don't get to hang out with Elon Musk and may never get to meet Richard Branson, or even to the degree where they give less two cares about meeting any of those people.
100%. Because here's where it's and I want to make
relationship currency to the
100%. And in this, I think that's why we're brothers. It's just why we're both Libras and brothers from another mother. So the thing about it is this: I'm not into name dropping because I don't want to know who you know. I want to know you. I say these names because of, and this is going to go into answering that question specifically, the key, and it's a chapter in my book, Be a Finisher, that is my favorite chapter, which is called A Collision for Success. Nothing happens by accident. You have to put yourself in what I call not harm's way, but in a benevolent way, in the space or in the collision of a person that can exalt you to where you want to be in 7 years, in 2 years. I could not get where I want to be in 2025 without this interview. You could not get where you want to be in 2025 without this interview. We intentionally collide because we understand the value, because at the core of everything that happens in life, there's value. If there's no value, you don't show up. You go on a date. there was value. You don't go on that date, there's no value. You go on an interview, there was value. If you don't go, there, everything has to have value. So if a person really wants to elevate to what we call, human equity and relationship currencies, which is my marquee. Relationship currency is what we've developed over years. You cannot rush, you cannot forge, you cannot makeshift, you can't manufacture relationship currency. It's value that grows over time as to how you root yourself in the soul of the universe on your purpose, passion pathway.
So what would be the 3 steps to begin increasing your relationship currency?
Ironically, you say that. I just trained on this. There's 3 things. There's 3 things that and here's another thing that makes me distinct. Because if you deal with business people, or if you deal with entrepreneurs or salespeople, and when people are pitching, even when we talked about in Hollywood, as both of you know, in New York and Hollywood, pitching, it's like close them, right? Find the decision maker. Find people that know how to make decisions. 95% of people lead with the decision, which is it's part of the equation. It's one of the most powerful words on the planet Earth, because if you break it down, DE comes from the Latin derivative there, which it came from, and side goes along with suicide, petricide, homicide, means to kill off every other option. Most people are in indecision and don't know how to make a decision. That's a problem. But decision is not the first step where 95% of people start. The first step starts with belief. I believe that you contribute to my life, which is why we're having this interview. You believe I can add something to other people that are listening, which is why we're having the interview. We have to have a belief system, and most people do not go out of their way. Belief system is not going to knock on your door. That's an opinion that sits inside your house. You have to intentionally go out and collide with the information or the individuals that can give you the belief to escalate to the next level. So the first step in having this collision for success is finding a belief system in whatever it is one pursues. The second step is then making a decision that you will never back away from. The decision for me to get an NFL championship is for me to run stairs when nobody understands why I'm running them. When I'm Gail Sayers and I'm running heels for 2 hours before the football game. When I'm Michael Jordan and I'm playing a full court game with Kobe before the game. I'm duplicating what has already worked. I have a belief system. Everybody's like, what the hell are you doing, Kobe? You out here sweating before the game like you already played? Yeah, I've been here 3 hours before a game. I haven't played 2 full court games. Because my belief system is to be an expert. That's what separates today a person making 40 million versus a person making 1.3 million a minimum in the NBA. But there's 5 people on the court. 3 of them only making 1.3 to 2.5 million. Then there's 2 out there, Steph Curry, or if you have a LeBron, making what? They knocking down hundreds of millions of dollars. They're on the same court. There's only 254 people to make it into the NBA. And there's less than 20 people that are clocking in on over $20 million. Would you take notes on the people making 20 million and find out what the hell they're doing? That leads us to the third step.
Okay, gotcha.
Which is actions. Because you can't take the actions and get excited about the actions that you do in the dark. Muhammad Ali won every fight before he ever went into the ring. Everybody's like, did you see that? The fight was won before he stepped in the ring. The work, the effort, the studying, the shadow boxing, all that, the studying of the opponent, it was done. He already knew it was done before he went in. That's why he could predict this is not going to be a match. Wow. I love Serena's conversation. She was interviewed one time and she said, and she had such an attitude. And people thought that she was arrogant, but it wasn't. They asked her, it's like, how did you lose when she lost one time in Wimbledon? How did you lose against your opponent? And she was so offended. She was like, I didn't lose. She said, you just had the match. She said, I did not lose to her. She said, how did she? She did not beat me. I beat me. I knew I wasn't prepared before I went in. I won the last 3 big matches, France Open, every French Open. I did not lose to her. I came in unprepared, not in shape, not at the skill level. I am more pissed, not that I lost, but I did not live into the excellence and the expectation of myself. That's where the power lives and where the actions happen in the dark that show up for everybody else to see what you've worked on. The game is already won. When we were young and we took a test, you knew when you got an A. When dad say, well, mom asked, how'd you do on the test? I think I did pretty good. You didn't study. You got a B or C. You know you didn't do the work. But when you got an A, you knew it was done. Yeah. It's the same thing. It was applicable to everything in life they're following. You know when your work outshines. One last thing I got to share. So I got to remember who said it. I can't remember, but I got to tell you, it was somebody extraordinary. And he said, he came in second place. It really hit me so hard because there's so many times where we do so great, but we come in second place. And God, I can't remember what, but he came in second place. I'll tell you what Steph Curry is doing this year. Steph should have got MVP last year. Steph Curry should have got MVP last year. He's played at such an extraordinary pace and level this year that he's making everybody understand there's no question that I'm the MVP of this league. I want you to understand from start to finish. So there is no, you want to put so much space that there's no question that there's anybody in your league when you decide to work off course in downtime. When nobody else is working, when nobody else sees Mailon putting in that sweat equity, putting in those tears, putting together a show, reading this, working on a deal, being able to cross-examine this, trying to establish this relationship, being able to wait in the wings for this relationship to come full circle for them to understand your value. It's like, you done missed something. I'm going to show you why you should have done the deal in the first place. All these different things that we have to learn patience. We don't stop. We don't get pissed off. We don't get a bucket of haterade. We aren't going tuck, tell, and hide and talking crap. I'm going to work even harder to make sure you understand you will never make this mistake again to overlook me.
Brilliant. Boy, what a great time to take a break. Perfect timing. Wow. Our guest today is Mr. Byron Nelson. He is he's more than a wealth advisor and more than a wealth coach or a business advisor. He's a genuine person who cares about humanity. Go Team Human, right?
100%.
We'll be right back. You're listening to the Barefoot Alchemist, UA 360 Radio.
Dismissed from drama school with a note that read, wasting her time. She's too shy to put her best foot forward. Turned down by the Decca Recording Company, who said, we don't like their sound and guitar music is on the way out. A failed soldier, farmer, and real estate agent. At 38 years old, he went to work for his father as a handyman. Cut from the high school basketball team, he went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. A teacher told him he was too stupid to learn anything, and he should go into a field where he might succeed by virtue of his pleasant personality. Fired from a newspaper because he lacked imagination and had no original ideas. His fiancée died, he failed in business twice, he had a nervous breakdown, and he was defeated in 8 elections. If you've never failed, you've never lived.
Benj and Justin had just written this new song called This Is Me. And we knew that it was going to be the anthem of the film, but no one had heard it before. And no one had heard Kiala sing it live. Kiala, who I didn't even want to come out from behind the music stand.
I didn't.
I kept saying to her, just step out, because this is your moment and you have to step out into the ring, metaphorically, because that's what you're doing, and you got to stand right there in front of everyone and just belt this out.
And I didn't want to. In fact, I stood behind that music stand until the day of that presentation. There was a moment in the song that I actually was so scared that I had to actually grab Hugh's hand so that I had somebody to hold on to. And then we got to the end of the number, and all I remember is just deafening applause. It was a sort of otherworldly experience.
It was one of those moments that will stay with me the rest of my life. Unfortunately, we filmed it.
Yeah.
That thing is, I tell you, what a great show that was.
That's crazy, man. I actually, even now, I tear up just listening to that song.
It was that personal story.
It's all of that. It's all of that. And it's every person that's ever been second guessed, had adversity, been challenged. And it's so inspiring for you to become you. You know, so many people are trying to be like somebody else. We could use the entertainment industry. They're trying to be like the next Michael Jackson, the next Prince, or the next this, or the next, Denzel. Until, and Oprah actually said it's like her I can't remember her model was an anchor. And she said, once I decided I could not be like that because I just wanted to laugh. I just wanted to cry. She never showed her mentor, big name, I can't remember this Caucasian woman, but she's like, she was so stoic and I just am so emotional. Once I gave myself permission to love at a euphoric level on people and stop trying to be like all the rest of the shows, stop competing with all the rest of the shows, I was able to find something so definitive and so distinct that it just kept unraveling. And she said, I was actually doing an interview about, they wanted me to do it about the Black men not being there for women, instead of me showing the man that was there for the child that grew up, which is much more inspirational than me having to beat down, a Latin or Black man for not being there for the child. Mm-hmm. And she said, everything I did, she said, I brought everybody in and recreated my show based on everything benevolent, positive, and humanity and love. And served everybody else pictures of their own haterade. And it just became, majestic. It became magical. And that song embodies every person to move to that next level and break through that glass ceiling that suppresses and oppresses the psychological and the emotional. I mean, we look at Regina, you know Regina, I know Regina. And to be able to see her son commit suicide. I had somebody else had a friend that committed suicide on the same weekend, another young man. If we have more time, I'd be a little bit more transparent in my own life, but it's just, there's with this whole space that we're living in and everything we're dealing with right now, it's imperative that we stand for ourselves so we can stand for others. And too many are trying to stand for others when they haven't learned how to stand for themselves. Mm-hmm. So the elevation and that inquiry into who am I? What takes your breath away to live on purpose instead of just existing? I mean, that's truly the space I'm living in right now. As we said, the older I get, the less I like people, but it's not people, the human race, or high quality, right? Mm. Or high frequency, or people that are evolving. In fact, it's not even a matter of, one of my pastors that I teach, I wish I had a bottle, he said, the problem is not that you're full. You're trying to pour in to all these caps. And everything you have is falling on the ground. You got to find another equally yoked bottle. And it doesn't have to be as full as yours, but it has to have the capacity so that when you're empty, it can pour back. It's just one of those things of where we are right now. I don't have the time or the patience, and I choose powerfully to not deal with any more caps.
Got it. So in your industry, in your life, what do you see coming for the future?
I am currently in accumulation mode, and what that means is under construction. I have 3 years with some very lofty goals to accumulate a significant amount of resources. I'm not just going to say money, but money is part of that equation. And I found my goal was to identify 7 generators that would generate a minimum of 6 to 7 figures without human equity from an investment perspective, where I can show anyone how to do it, that they did not have to have, again, the equally yoked resources that I've built in my life, but I can show my son at 23 or somebody at 25 or 30 how literally to short circuit the system of where they want to be in 20 years to get there in 5 at a strong 7-figure income. And I've been able to find 3 solid generators, 2 that are private because it's on a whole nother level that most people don't have the resources to play in. But I'm very excited about this movement that I have. It's called GSA. GSA stands for God's Stealth Army. So, everything I do, I put God first. The more you become successful, the less people should know you're successful. That's the stealth part. That's the wisdom of humility at this point. I'm not out to floss, flex. I'm not showing. It's just moving in stealth. And then the army is raising up, the next generation, because it's how many I have. This Project 1000 that I have, which is creating 1,000 millionaires within the next 3 years. And I'm definitely on track with the systems we have in place. It's definitely a village that allows people that have the mind and, have the power to be able to go against transgressions, to be able to truly make things happen. It's an amazing journey. I'm the most excited at this point in my life. It takes me back to that Peter Pan. It's like I literally have found the generators to create a wealthy nation of individuals, because it was just about money. I would literally not talk to anybody. I don't need anybody to make money. And I've proven that over and over again. But I get my air comes from watching a person completely. I like seeing their address change. I like seeing their spirit change. I like seeing their mindset change. I like seeing them create their parents, they're literally their children's children. I am talking to 3 generations, and I'm still getting younger, right? You're still getting younger, but I'm like, I had a call today and I got more excited about talking to this man's child and him knowing who I am that I've never met. He's like, this is Mr. Nelson. I'm like, I'm just Byron. You need to get out here. We're gonna go play and build a sandbox, and we just gonna just get on the plane. As soon as they lift all this crap going on, I don't even want to talk to your dad no more. He's not even invited. You just come. And that's such the greatest high, is to be able to know that you can not talk from a pulpit or a stage or just sell people a pipe dream. My greatest challenge has been in the realm that I was in, and we haven't talked since my pivoting, but in the realm I was in, I drank the Kool-Aid. It's people moving the goalpost. So you get in, they say run 100 yards, and you get in and you run 100 yards. They say, oh, we forgot to tell you about that extra 120 yards. So 1 or 2 can get through the needle of the haystack, if you will. But I needed something where everybody eats. Anybody who wanted to get down with me, I could show a person right now how to take $1,000 in 5 years, doing really 5 to 10 minutes worth of work a week, put 2.4 million in their pocket. But it goes from chasing, because see, there's some people that are really good at making money. Mm-hmm. There are fewer people great at investing money, because we weren't taught to invest. We were taught to go make and chase and get more money. But you really aren't, let's say you want to make $1 million, $10 million. Now what are you going to do with it? So that's really why you're living. Let's get to that purpose instead of chasing these ghost dreams, so to speak. And then we could design a life. And that goes back, bringing it full circle to the beginning of our conversation. What makes me different from any other person? I'm an architect of lives. I sit down with a blueprint and design a life that you never thought you could have, that you only thought was in a wish format at the end of a rainbow. And then I'll show you how to get there. And nobody else has ever been able to do that but me.
And there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Byron Nelson. You know, it only took an hour and 3 minutes to get to the answer.
Nobody said it was ever easy.
But I'm so glad you did. It was worth the payoff. We'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah. The vibes are wine bottles, little shuffles, and a couple friends. PlayStation, Grand Theft, and some M&Ms. New work, more money than a vacation. You work hard and play harder, gotta make it make sense. Gotta make arrangements for my young borns. A one baby daddy situation was the old norm. These lot just wanna swipe right and watch you porn, and I'm just trying to build a legacy. Okay, now what to elect some more? My mum ain't raised no bitch. My mother had me in some corduroy and some Nike kicks. My father had me on the keyboard at the age of 6. My sister influenced a certain love I have for hits. My brother likewise and hooked me up with plenty lines. Looking back at it, he probably was committing crimes. In certain places, they're just calling that shit getting by. We're getting by, you either entertain or 9 to 5. It didn't matter when we're quarantined. It didn't matter when we're broke. I had to take a little second, man. I took a second, then you really think we're only standing by? You need to open your eyes. Yeah. I found myself drinking out of these wine bottles and watching my mind shuffle, but the same thought is on repeat. Constantly eating from this tree in which Eve did. I found my struggles follow from what she did, but I is woman, so what we did. Am I conceited for my thoughts? I placed a ticking cross inside a knot. Make a game of noughts and crosses worth of thought. And I in session, never deemed to judge but rule the court. Sugarcoating truth, that ain't food for thought. That's a fat ass lying on your ass, diabetes ass answer. They never answer my question. Does wearing weave make me any less of a black girl? They say you nigga make me ignorant or forgiving. Just like, should I just be leaving or be living? Should I just be leaving or be living? Every time I get a little down. Me, I say 5'10", I'm calm, don't grow again. Bad with a pen, they up the shooter's gang. Short box braids, Reeboks, a hooligan, but zen, I am a gen. Tell friends to wait. 5'10", I'm calm, don't grow again. Bad with a pen, they up the shooter's gang. Short box braids, Reeboks, a hooligan, but zen, I am a gen. Tell friends to tell a friend.
As you know, one thing I like to do, besides call my grandma and have a great cup of coffee, is have some fantastic conversations with some fascinating people and listen to some great music, and I think we've done that today. Our guest was Byron Nelson. We had some great conversation, I think. But how can you really get into someone's psyche in 10 minutes, which is why here at the Urban Alchemist, we have engineered a series of questions, scientifically engineered, to reveal a person's truest self. In fact, let me bring you up here. There you are. In fact, this method is so unique that Wall Street Journal, Psychology Today, and Ebony Magazine have all said, no thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to truly know our guest, Byron Nelson, who has been a philanthropist, a business builder for others as well as himself. He's very team human, but did you really get to know him? Let's find out. Byron, are you ready to be known?
102.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to know Byron. Byron, what is the best sandwich?
Avocado turkey sandwich. Avocado.
Name something that you have thrown out that you really should have kept.
Couches. Home furniture. I let it go in storage when I moved from one place to another, and I should have kept it.
Okay. What is the best superpower?
Aside from Peter Pan?
If you consider flight a superpower and Peter Pan could do it, I say yeah.
I think the greatest superpower is probably Tinkerbell, since she makes Peter Pan better.
So what is your answer?
Tinkerbell.
What is the best superpower?
The female in a man's world that makes him better.
Holy shit, that's an obscure answer, and I'm going judges. We're going to accept that. We're going to accept that. Okay, moving on. Name a talent or skill that you rarely use.
I used to use it all the time, but poetry, writing poetry, and Namo, the spoken word.
Name one cool thing that you've learned post-COVID that you didn't know before.
I'm in love with me time.
Good answer. What is your favorite guilty pleasure movie? Not favorite, guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure. True. So many great ones. What was the one with now we're playing a game, right? Wesley Snipes, New Jack City.
Okay. Moving on, next question. What is the best song to clean your house to?
Sting. Any song by Sting. I just put on his
Here's a bonus to two-parter. And the best song to wake up to on a Sunday morning.
Any old blues song, any or gospel. I listen to a lot of gospel, but Tasha Cobbs is always good.
Okay. So here's a question, Byron. What do you think happens when we die?
Who said we do?
Is that your answer?
Yes. This is just temporary.
Accept that. Next question. Cooking at home or dining out?
I'm a Libra. You know that's a season. I love to cook. But I also love going out. So the season I'm in right now is I'm on my way to an amazing place for dinner. So dining out for right now.
Okay. You have your last $1,000 in your bank account. What is the first thing you do with it?
Invest it. Well, I take $100 out and give it to God. That's the first thing I do. And invest the other $900.
That's obscure. What does that mean? Invest in what? What would you invest in?
I'd either do options or crypto.
Options or what?
Or crypto.
Options or crypto. You stop my dramatic music. They all wanted to hear that one.
And I'll tell you, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I actually told people before Tesla did a three-way split about 1.5 years ago what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I'll give a tip to all your listeners. Before the end of March, go pick up as much as you can of Google. By April 15th, it's going to do a three-way split. It's going to be a 400% return within 60 days of the time it comes back around. And you have it recorded. I'm telling you.
Okay. That's a good note. I hope everyone heard that. But next question. What is the first thing you buy with $1?
Some baked beans and some lemon heads and some Mailons.
That is correct. What is your biggest regret and what have you learned from it?
My biggest regret is that I didn't listen to my father. in the pursuit when I was in my 20s to purchase one piece of property here for 10 years and nobody in your family will ever have to work again.
I think there's a few people that have been stubborn like that, or for whatever
one piece of property.
The timing wasn't right from their mind.
Yeah, the regret in that, the wisdom and the regret in that is he actually, I'm gonna tell you how stupid I was. I think everybody's had stupid moments in their life.
Right, timer.
Okay, my stupid moment was he wanted me to live in Long Beach, and I was so resistant. I wanted to live in LA. I was like, why would I live? He bought me a piece of property in Long Beach. And I was like, why would I live in Long Beach? I want to live in LA. I had no idea what he was doing for me and trying to teach me at that time.
Got it.
He didn't just tell me, he actually went and purchased the property.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm not living in Long Beach. I'm in my 20s. I'm trying to ball out of control in LA.
now Long Beach isn't so bad. So what is your favorite word?
Integrity.
What is the most used app on your phone?
Waze.
Waze, the Waze app. Yes, directions. That is a good one. So you are stranded on a desert island, or wherever you feel stranded most at, but you can only take one song with you to listen to the rest of your life. What song is it?
That song you just played. That song you just played. I'll take the whole Greatest Show album, but that one song would work for me. Any song on that album I would take, and I could work off of for the rest of my life.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well you get extra points for that one since it was featured on the show.
Yeah.
And what number am I thinking of?
7.
No. Describe the rest of your life in 5 words.
Forever remember to change lives.
Forever remembered
to change lives.
Wow. Well, that's pretty damn good. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the privilege of now knowing Byron Nelson. Yeah! Byron, do you feel known?
I feel known. Right now. If only Mailon knows me, I'm good.
Well, Byron, take us out. We want to know how to best contact you, how to best keep in touch. How to to get involved in your business and to have their business be involved in what you're doing.
My assistant's name is Wendy Baird, Baird, for that department of my business, and her number is 530-640-5835. She only uses WhatsApp, so she's not going to check text message because most of my business are global. So if you text her, set up a time, let her know through Mailon or through Barefoot Alchemist within the next, whatever time frame you need. Will just give me notice, and I will set up a personal conversation with you.
Also, by the way, if you like what you hear at home or wherever you're listening to and you want to discover more, you can actually search for the show by searching the Barefoot Alchemist or UA360 Radio on the Spotify app or wherever your favorite podcasts are located. You can also leave us a message at anchor.fm/UA360 Radio. You can see that right there on the little, which way is that? Anyway, you can see it on the screen, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for joining us, Byron. Thank you for
my pleasure, man. I love you, man.
We appreciate it.
All right, fam.
I'll see you next week.
What if we were entering into a new time? A time when the very systems of control and commerce that we had believed to be the status quo were somehow no longer relevant.
You are listening
What
to
if we were
Urban
faced with a
Alchemy
new medium,
360.
a new network, a new system that connected the people and places of the world in a new way?
Urban Alchemy 360.
What if that system is here?